Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. We are doing the Truth About Manifestation series, and this is episode 2. So if you haven't listened to the first episode, I would suggest you head on over to last week and listen to that one before jumping into this one. Now, if you did listen to the last one, we're getting into it. So every manifestation begins with desire, right? There's a desire for something. And this is where a lot of people are just start getting tripped up right here, right now with the first step. And this is what you'll hear talked about a lot in manifestation posts and Instagram and courses and things like that. But right here, if we're getting tripped up right out of the gate, we're going to have a problem. So the issue is that they either don't know exactly what they want, or they think that they need to know every single detail with all of the steps, right down to the color or how it's going to happen and the square footage of the house that they want and all of that. And the fact is that that's not true clarity. Clarity, which is what we're diving into today, is the clarity. Clarity isn't just about naming the thing. It's more about anchoring into the essence of what you're calling in. So clarity matters, and it does. It matters in a gigantic way. So when you say like, I don't know what I'm manifesting, it's like going into a deli and saying you want lunch, but not giving the deli guy the order. It's like, well, I don't really know. Surprise me. So the deli person is going to surprise you, and you may be pleasantly surprised, or you may get like a liverwurst sandwich, which for me, that would be not okay. But for you, I mean, maybe you like liverwurst. Maybe you'd be like, oh, liverwurst. But for me, I'm like, not feeling it, deli person. But whose fault is it? Is it the deli guy because that's what he gave you? Or is it your fault for not being specific, right? So we do want to start getting clear. And honestly, it is great to have amazing clarity on something. Some details, I don't know if they're that important. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they're extremely important. And the biggest thing of all, though, is that you are clear on something, right? You're clear on some kind of direction to give to the universe. Now, when it comes to the subconscious mind, if it doesn't have any like clear directive, it's just going to continuously recycle old familiar patterns. And it's really just going to kind of keep you stuck in the familiar past. So that's what's going to start to happen there. So from a subconscious standpoint, if you're not clear, it's just going to be you reliving the past over and over and over again. You're going to have the same feelings. You're going to basically live the same day over and over, and you're not really going to get anywhere. You're not going to get towards a manifestation. When it comes to energy, the energetic of it, the clearer the signal, the stronger the frequency broadcast, right? So like think of a radio. If you're like looking for Z100 on the radio, or if like you want to listen to Z100 and like, let's say you're driving along and like the signal's not clear, how does it come in? Fuzzy, right? It's staticky, it's fuzzy. So the stronger the frequency broadcast, and when you're aligned with it, right, and you like understand it, the more clear everything's going to start coming in. So from an energetic perspective, having clarity is very important, because law of attraction says that you need to vibrate at the frequency of the thing that you want in order to call it in, because like attracts like. Okay. And also there's law of resonance here too, which says if my mind thinks something's important, the universe is going to keep showing you, or your mind is going to keep filtering out the things it thinks that you think is important. So if you keep saying, I have a red car, I see red cars everywhere. I want I'm going to get a white car. Now, all of a sudden, you get your white car and you start seeing white cars everywhere. It's just because your brain was filtering out all the red ones. I mean, all the other white ones, because you were telling it that red was important because you kept saying there's so many red cars. Okay. Now, do you get that? I'm sure you do. Now, on a quantum level, which I love doing everything in the quantum field, on a quantum level, clarity begins to bring about infinite possibilities. And it collapses the infinite aspect of it and starts to align you with the probability of getting that thing. Okay. So, like my affirmation that I always say is, I live in the realm of infinite possibilities and probabilities. So everything is available to me as long as I align myself with it, as long as I clear out any ceilings that make me not infinite, that are putting ceilings on what I think is possible for myself. Okay. So clarity is truly a frequency, and the clearer you are, the clearer your signal. Understanding also that your subconscious is like the GPS. It needs an address. Okay. If you don't give it one, it's going to keep circling the same old neighborhood because it knows exactly what's in the neighborhood. So if you can say, the address that I want is right here, the subconscious is going to be like, got it. Okay, this feels uncomfortable driving out of the old neighborhood, but at least we kind of know where we're going. Okay. So starting to understand that, what I want to say is this: where people get stuck the most is they don't know the thing, and they think that it's not okay to just want the feeling, to have the feeling. And at the end of the day, we are driven by truly the feeling of something. It's actually not so much about the thing, but more about the feeling that comes with having that thing. So let's say you want, I always use this because it just feels so easy to say, you want $1 million, right? So if you want $1 million, do you want $1 million, or do you want the feeling that comes with the $1 million? And if the feeling is freedom, or the feeling is you'll be able to breathe better, or the feeling is that you can do things that you weren't able to do in the past, well, that's really what you want to focus in on. Now, that doesn't mean don't get caught up in the thing. Yes, I want you to get caught up in the thing. I want you to say, I want the $1 million, but I want you to understand why you want it. I don't want you to just want it because someone thinks you should want it, or you think you should want it. You should understand what you want and why you want it. That is important. Okay. It's very important. However, where people get stuck is, number one, they won't say the thing that they want. They won't admit to the thing that they want because they're also scared that they may choose the wrong thing. So they'd rather just choose nothing. Other people, and I may be calling you out here, and if I am, you're welcome. So I think that some people feel like, well, my life is good enough and I'm happy. I'm content. I actually hate that word content, because it means like, I'm okay. I'm good. And it's like, really? You want to be content? You want to live life like that? No, I don't. Like, so they feel like they can't wish for things because they have, or they look at other people and they say, well, I have it better off than them, so I'm okay. Honey, want more. Want more for your life. Want a love that is so deeply passionate that you are just loving from the depths of your soul, and you are loved the same way. Want money. Want it because it makes life easier, because it enables you to do things. It enables you to experience life. It enables you to help other people in bigger ways. Want it. There's not one freaking thing that is wrong about wanting that is in the highest good. Okay. So I say that, and if you feel uncomfortable by that statement, I'm going to ask you to start to rethink your subconscious beliefs, or to start to get to know them, or just rethink your belief system. Because if you think, and you grew up with, which many people did, money's the root of all evil, you're never going to call in money. And you should want money. You should want it, because it will afford you the chance to do so many amazing things. And also, you won't have to worry. Now, what level of money you want? Well, that's up to you, right? But to want to be rich, there's nothing wrong with that, because money is just a frequency. It's what people do with it that make things that they do, their actions, not good. And then it kind of gives money a bad rep, right? But for you, don't feel bad about wanting things. Don't feel bad that just because somebody else you feel like has an unfortunate life, or an unfortunate thing happen, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't want the things that you want, because then you're not experiencing what your soul came here to experience. Okay? So not knowing what you want does not mean that you're blocked in any way. It means that where you should focus, and maybe what your soul wants you to do, is truly focus on the feeling that you want. Like, what is missing in your life? What do you feel like? Like, when I was working in corporate America, for me, I was missing the feeling of being carefree. And yes, there is a general aspect of feeling free, right? Freedom. But at the end of the day, I wasn't able to do anything that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And to me, that was not a way to live. And if I continued on that journey, I would have felt like I was in a cage more and more and more and more. And that just wasn't a life for me to live. Until finally I broke out of that cage. And breaking out of that cage was the best thing that I did. Best thing. So these things are meant for you to experience, and you're not allowing yourself to experience them in the biggest way possible. Because you're not even allowing yourself to want them, to say it's okay to want things. And we have, especially from religion, we have very, very deep wounding, generationally, deep within our DNA, about wanting, because it was said that you should live this like pious, basically poor life. But where did that get people? Where did that get anybody? Nowhere. Just kept them playing small. And if you can't see that now, if you couldn't see it in the past, I want you to try to see it now. Because you should be the most empowered version of you. And when someone or something tells you that it's not okay to want something that would better your life, that group wants to keep you playing small because they want to be in power. Just saying, okay? Just going to drop that right there and leave it where it is. You do what you want with it. Now, let's talk about the deep truth about desire and clarity. Clarity is both form, okay, so like the thing that you want, and it is also essence, the feeling. So that is true clarity. It's understanding both and how you get there. Now, you don't need to know the how in manifesting, but you have to take steps, right? And we're going to get into aligned action in a later episode. But knowing where you're headed and the steps that you need to start to take, even if you don't know exactly the steps, exactly what it'll take, just start. because you know the feeling and you kind of know what you think might take you there. Example, I started my whole entrepreneurial journey food blogging. And I was very clear. Listen, I wanted the best for my food blog. I wasn't convinced that food blogging would be the thing that would get me out of corporate America and paying me a multiple six-figure salary that I was making in corporate America. I wasn't sure that it would do that. I know for some it did, but for me, I could already feel where alignment was off because it wasn't feeling like the road. And yet, it is what I knew the best, so I took the road anyway. And when people would ask me, like, how did I plan to leave corporate America? Did I think that I would get there? Like my dad used to ask me that, like, you think that like food blogging is going to do it? And I'm like, no, but I think it's the stepping stone. And for me, that's all I needed. So if you can consider every step you take, even if it's not in the direction of where you ultimately end up, if you could just consider every step as a stepping stone, you're already on the right path. It doesn't matter if it ends up leading there or not. It does. Inadvertently, it does. Right? So for me, the food blog was the stepping stone to get into spiritual business coaching, spiritual coaching, because it led me down a path of my spirituality that I actually had in the past, right? Like when, especially in my older teenage years, I was taking all my intuition classes. I was Reiki certified at 19 years old. I was doing healings. I was doing all of those things. So I was on that path. I just took a different path in the end. And then I came back to it. It was some things that were there, but it's almost like I was leaning on it for myself, not for others. I was leaning on it for myself to bring me to a certain place. And then now, well, not now, but yes, now I guess. But at the time, once I started to bring that into my business and started to bring that to other people and start to share it with people, and then they started like leaving their corporate jobs and they started to do their things. And we were having conversations and they were taking the guidance and they were following it through and they were able to do these things. And I was working my way towards it. Absolutely. But this was something I was doing like on the side of my food blog with friends and family. And it was amazing to watch it unfold. But at the end of the day, I needed the food blog to guide me there. And then I had to leave it behind. So and I put my heart and soul into the food blog and a lot of money. I learned how to build it. I learned how to build a website. And I got coaches and I learned how to take better food photos and led myself down this journey that ultimately I needed all of those pieces later on. Right. But if I just said, well, I don't really know what I want to do, I'd probably still be in corporate America because I didn't take any steps because I was stunted by the steps. So that being said, you want to make sure that you're still taking those steps, that you, even if you don't know 100% what the thing is, you're guided by the feeling. And the feeling was, this business will lead me, whatever entrepreneurial journey I go on, it will lead me to freedom. Okay. So the essence of the thing that you want is the magnet. It's the magnet. It's the thing that's going to start calling it in. Now the form, which is the thing that you are saying that you want, is one possible expression of, for me, let's say it was freedom, right? So for me, the food blog was one possible expression of freedom. But what it ended up being was expressing itself and then letting it go in order to express itself in another form, which was basically what I do today, right? In a different format. So understanding that is really important because you can get to the feeling in many different ways. You can take many different roads. Now, on a timeline perspective, some of those roads are going to be shorter, right? Like some of the timeline roads are going to get you to the manifestation quicker. And then others. Sometimes you might take the long road. Okay. And you can change at any moment. Okay. So understand that you don't have to know the timeline, the road, all the things. Just get on the timeline that starts to change your life, which you do by taking the step forward and understanding the essence of what you want, the feeling of what you want. Okay. And also, you don't have to know the how. Okay, like this right here is the part that really gets in the way. It gets in the way so bad because everyone gets tripped up on these two things, how and when. How and when. And the how is not your concern. And I say that with love. But the how something comes to you, you don't really get to decide. You don't get to decide who it comes from, where it comes from, which way. All you get to say is, this is the thing, and these are the steps I'm going to start taking. Guide me along the journey. Guide me along the journey. And this is where meditation comes in. This is where meditation comes in. This is where stones like fluorite and clear quartz really come into play. Really come into play because fluorite is the stone of your life's path, and clear quartz, fire and ice quartz, anything in that clear quartz family is going to bring you clarity. Apophyllite is another great one. But these stones are going to start helping you to find clarity. Meditate. Meditate. Yes, you need to meditate. And I'm going to say it every day to connect, to see if you are on the right path. I'm just going to say this, if you are so concerned with the how and you're not meditating, you don't get to ask how. You don't. And if you're so concerned with the how, why aren't you meditating to find the answers? Because your logical mind doesn't know the way. Your soul knows the way. So you're asking the wrong one. You're being guided by the wrong one. Start meditating. You want to get there quicker? Meditate. You have questions like how? Meditate and ask, what is my next right move? And then trust what you receive. What is my next right move? And then trust it. If you are not meditating and you are so caught up on the how you do things and my manifestation isn't coming, I'm sorry, you don't get to ask how. You just don't. You don't, because you have the answers already within you. And you're not even trying. Okay? You're not doing the things. So start meditating. Start asking your soul to lead the way. Start automatic writing. All the things. Or even if you want to start here, go get yourself a reading. Get a reading with someone at Spirit and Soul. Get a reading with Frank. Get a reading with Erica. Get a reading with Brittany. Get a reading with somebody to start getting some clarity. And then meditate. And then meditate. I'm not saying that the reading takes place of meditation, because at the end of the day, no matter what, your reading, while especially with someone at Spirit and Soul, is going to be accurate. Okay. It's going to help you. It's going to guide you. Your soul is the ultimate one that knows the way. Okay. So if you want that little bit of guidance and then asking your soul, maybe you don't trust yourself too much yet, and that's a good way to maybe marry the two things together. Do it, but do something. Okay. And then the other thing is this. And all of this really turns like the vague, I want more, because it's, at the end of the day, a lot of people say, like, I just want more. I know there's more for my life. I know there's more. It, all of the clarity and everything that we're talking about here, it turns the I want more energy into a frequency that the subconscious mind and the universe can respond to. And that's what we want. It's, again, coming back to the deli, right? Now, if you walked into the deli, you're like, okay, that liverwurst sandwich was not expected. Okay. I'm going to come into the deli and I'm going to say, I know that I want a turkey sandwich. And maybe you don't know what kind of bread you want it on. Okay. Like, maybe there are certain things that you don't know 100%, but like give the deli guy, for dear God, give him something. Give him something, because you're going to get liverwurst again. And did you want that? Was that going to be the order? No. Okay. Probably not. So give them something. And as you start to do that, you're going to start to see that it's like, well, you know what would be great? A turkey sandwich on a roll with cheese and bacon. And then you'll start to see it unfold a little bit more as you get to understand the essence of the thing that you want. You're like, okay, I just want to like really enjoy this sandwich. Like, what do I feel like? What is the essence of it? Well, there's a little essence of like crunch to it, or there's like a little essence of like this, right? And then you can start to feel into that a little bit more. But now it's not vague. Now it's not just give me whatever you think I want. So desire is going to be the compass here. Essence, the essence of it is going to be the true north. It's going to be the thing that gets you there. Okay. It's going to be the guiding star. So the essence and the feeling is going to be that energy of the North Star, and the desire is going to be the compass, and it's going to kind of go like this a little bit, but it's always going to keep that true north. Okay. So if you feel caught up on, I don't really know what the thing is, focus on the essence, because even if you went into the deli and you were like, I don't really know what I want. I want something with a little bit of a crunch, something that has meat in it, like something with some kind of cheese. At least we're giving something. You have the essence that you can describe. Okay. And when you name the essence, truly, that's when you open yourself up to infinite forms that can deliver it, right? So now there's different ways, different things that can be delivered. The other thing too is this. Let's talk subconscious, energetic, quantum layer here. So let's really dive into all of this right now. When it comes to the subconscious, it's going to resist desires that don't feel believable. Okay. So when you say, I want this thing, already the subconscious mind is going to be like, that's too much. You're crazy. You don't have what it takes to do that. You don't da 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 da. So if that's going to start to happen, and clarity allows you to ladder your way into the desires that feel safe, and have you start believing what's possible. I'm going to be honest. A big thing that happens here, and we're going to get into beliefs in another episode, but you have to believe that you can have the thing. Now you can ladder into belief. And I want you to go on that belief ladder. Like, go on the belief ladder. Start with a big dream and then say, okay, that feels so far. And I know that I can get it because it's on my soul. It's on my heart, which means I can get there. However, what do I believe what is a belief that I could have right now? So maybe it's like, I want to leave my job. I don't believe in this moment that I can leave for multiple six figures. But what I do believe is like, I can actually take a step and start something. That is a belief ladder. And then as you start to do that thing, Now it starts to build and you start to build confidence. And maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need the belief ladder to build into the infinite possibilities. Because once you start to unfold the beliefs and start to see the things come to you, you believe you can do more, have more, call in more. So all of that is amazing when you start to do it from a laddered perspective. Okay. Now we have the energetic. Okay. So when you align to the essence of what you want, right? The essence of it, your vibration will start to stabilize. Now, I do always say that crystals help with stabilizing the energy, because as you tap into the essence of it, we are humans, we're going to have emotions, we're going to have thought systems, thought patterns, belief systems, subconscious, all the things are going to kind of get in the way. And that's where crystals start to come in and stabilize that a little bit more for you. If you ask it to work for you, it will, and it does. These are living things, living beings. And if you work with it and ask it to work for you, it will. Okay. It will help you. It doesn't want to be a crutch for you, because at some point you need to have the belief system on your own or the clarity on your own, but you will. You will start to see it help you and guide you, and you'll start to hold that vision a little bit more clear. So we don't want to have this like wobbly field around us. We want to have some conviction around the things that we want. And that will help the energetic frequency stay so that we can tap into that law of attraction. Now, when it comes to the quantum field, the quantum field is this incredible field, just again, thinking about infinite possibilities and probabilities. As you start to have clarity, you collapse other timelines. You collapse like probability waves or possibilities, because you're like, okay, I don't want that. And you're telling the quantum field, you're telling the universe, I don't want that thing. So when you start to focus on what you want and you start to get a little bit more clear, or a lot more clear and focus on it, you shift from the infinite options to chosen trajectory. So you're telling the universe, this is what I want. You're telling the quantum field, go here, follow the essence, follow, and I will follow too. I will shift in how I get there, but I want this essence, this thing. And it is amazing when you start to tap into that more, because you start to see everything become so much more clear. Okay. So what I want you to do, we're going to do some practices, and you can, if you're driving, you can always come back to this. But one thing I want you to do is I want you to start to do some essence to form journaling. So what does that mean? What I want you to do is, especially if you know the thing you want, because I want you to get clear on why. Okay. So if you're like, I want a beach house, why? What is the essence of the beach house? So that is like the journaling that I want you to do. Now, if it's opposite, if you're like, I don't know what I want, but I know the feeling that I want, then I want you to do it opposite. What are some things that could give you that feeling? So if you're like, I want to feel free, we'll start to look at your life and say, well, I want to feel free because I don't feel free in this area of my life, and I don't feel free in this area of my life. And that is how you'll start to gain clarity. So you may not like know exactly what you want. Like, let's say you're like, I don't feel free in my job. Well, okay. So now you know that there's a change that needs to be made there. And maybe it's just a new job. Maybe it's a business venture. Maybe it's, I don't know, fill in the blank. Okay. But it could be something different. It's got to be something different than what you're doing now if you're not feeling free. Or maybe you just haven't expressed yourself enough to your boss or to whoever the powers that be, that you don't feel free and you need something that's going to keep you happy, right? So maybe that could be it as well. Now, what I want you to do is also create a clarity statement for yourself. So one sentence that combines essence, and form. So if you know the essence of the thing that you want, you can start to write it out and say, and if you're not sure about the form, like what you want it in, what I want you to do is then say, okay, I know I want to feel like this. And here are some possibilities where here's some areas of my life where I could use some change and I don't know how to change that. And even putting that is more clarity than just saying, I don't know how to get there, right? It's like throwing your hands up. So let's say, we'll just give an example. I am calling in a career that allows me to feel free and abundant and creative, right? So like, that's great. And in a form that serves my highest good. And you could just leave it at that. You can actually just leave it at that. You don't even have to say in this area of my life. I mean, you kind of already did. But if you're like, I want to feel free and this is the area that I need it in, or now you got some clarity around, well, I'm kind of not feeling free in my career. So I put that in the beginning, right? I'm calling in a career that helps me feel like this. Get clear on what you want, make your clarity statement. Then what I want you to do is one small action that affirms the essence. So even if you don't feel free right now in your job or in your life, do one thing that does make you feel free, that does tap into the essence. And if you can, like let's say if it is in the job, how could you tap into the freedom that maybe you do have in your job that you're not tapping into? So what is a way that you could do that? Maybe it's like calling in sick that day and saying like, well, I actually have the ability to call in sick, right? So that's one thing that you could do, but get creative with it. Have fun with it. And I want you to play pretend, like pretend that you have this freedom and move through it. What would it feel like? What would you do with that freedom? And then do those things. Okay. So I just want you to remember that clarity isn't just a vision, it's practice. And you will refine this vision over time. You're going to refine it. It's going to change, and that's okay. That is okay, because remember, the essence is the really important part anyway. Okay. So we don't want to micromanage the universe. We don't want to tell the universe, this is how I want it done. This is how you're going to do it. I want it like this. Not saying that you can't, because we do something called like manuscripting, like where you can script your manifestations. So I don't want to give too much energy to that, but I also don't want to say like, universe, this has to happen. Because if you don't let go, which we're going to talk about later, the universe doesn't have any ability to work its magic. You don't give it any room. So what we're doing here with the clarity is that we're giving our subconscious minds and the energy field a clear assignment. We're saying, this is what I want to align with. And we're going to root it in the essence of the thing that you want. And you're not going to get obsessed with the form. Okay. So the clearer that you are, the clearer your frequency, and the faster your reality will start to align. Okay. So I am so excited to continue this series with you. Don't forget to tune in next week. And I would love to hear from you what you really resonated with the most and what you needed to hear. So please make sure that you are, first of all, following us on Instagram at Spirit and Soul Studio. I am my personal one is I'm Tiffany Cohen, and you can follow me there. Let me know what resonated with you. Let me know what jumped out at you. I'd love to hear from you. And also, please make sure that you are leaving us a review. They really, really help. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening, please leave us a review if you want to continue to hear more of these thoughts and how like we do things here at Spirit and Soul and how I do things. All right. I will see you on the next episode.